When I was 16 I used to steal condoms every week from the supermarket. I never really stole anything else, but for some reason I was too embarrassed to go at the counter with a 12 pack of Durex Pleasure Maximum and face the cashier. Combine that with not wanting to ask my parents for money because they might figure it out, it was the only solution in my head. I would go in with a fat jacket in near summer weather and would walk around the whole place until I found a nice blind spot of the cameras to put the condoms the jacket's pocket. One time I even went with an empty laptop bag that would cover my pocket. I sincerely thought it was a great plan. However, looking back at it now, I'm pretty sure the security staff had great laughs with me and just let me do it out of understanding, and maybe because they didn't want to cause an unplanned pregnancy to a minor. I'll never know, but I feel like it's funny and wanted to share. I used to work retail and trust me, would much rather people steal condoms than pregnancy tests. Now that is very thoughtful and considerate from all of you guys. Respect. I've done app work at a retail location. I've seen people concealing condoms all the time. I didn't even bother stopping them because of the reasons you stated, plus it's not worth my time to stop people from stealing anything less than $10. If you were stealing a large volume, I'd imagine no one was looking at the cameras at that time. However, I did stop a guy who tried to steal a Trojan vibrating ring once. When we stop people, they come back to our office and we take their ID info if they're cooperative and do some light paperwork. If we can do all that, we don't even call the cops. This guy was cooperating, but when we asked him why he tried to steal that item today, he said sexual pleasure. We had a good laugh about it after I told him I just needed to know why he decided to steal it instead of pay, not what he was going to use it for. I have a female friend who in high school went to the store to buy condoms. Afterwards, her mom told her, "You could at least have bought them at another store. Not the one I work at." I guess it gave her coworkers something to gossip about. I worked at a grocery store and my manager always said if I caught someone stealing condoms to just let them go because they aren't the kind of people that need to be having unprotected sex, haha. My dad once told me that if you aren't mature enough to walk up to the cashier and buy them, then you definitely aren't mature enough to be having sex. This is honestly how I see it now. Not trying to roast you at all up. I used to do this myself. I really do applaud you for being safe. And I did it when I was young too. Taking risks when you are that young is a stupid ducking thing to do. But if I had to do it over again, I would have followed my dad's advice. I think it's just because a part of me wishes that I had the balls to walk up to the cashier, drop down a pack of domes and a bag of chips, and give her the "oh yeah, I'm ducking tonight" look. Well, I disagree. The not having money and not wanting to ask parents thing is why. I don't think his issue was being scared to buy them, but not wanting his parents to know. I can relate, as mine would have literally killed me if I had sex in high school or anything even close. I think it's more important to use protection, and he did, so that's where I think he did a good job. Even though stealing is bad, lol. My husband and I have already agreed that when our kids hit the teen years, there's going to be a stash of condoms in the bathroom for them and their friends to take from whenever they please. Also, for anyone of age to have experienced the awkwardness of circumstance Op describes. Generally most public college campuses, pandemic times aside, have places where there are just baskets of free condoms, oftentimes in the library, which is usually an easy place to have an excuse to go to for people in school without much question. We had a night crew that worked overnight in a supermarket. This was before most supermarkets had security cameras. The night crew, in their 20s, were stealing condoms like crazy, with the store being dead at that hour and no one to keep an eye on them. The general merchandise manager knew it had to be them. First of all, go you at 16 for being safe. Your parents taught you well. And secondly, you know it's really common for people to be embarrassed about anything sexually. I didn't know this until in college. I worked at a Spencer's in the mall, and that store of course had the adult section. Well, this young fella came in and bought a pocket toy. He gave me cash and ran out the door. Well, didn't even look me in the eye. My heart broke for him because I wanted so badly to tell him it was okay, but he wouldn't even give me the time lol. I still think about him today. As someone who works at a grocery store and sees thousands of faces a day, we really don't care who you are or what you buy. I understand you didn't want to ask your parents for money, but if there are other people who are out there that are possibly embarrassed by going through the checkout, seriously, don't be. We don't even really see you. I'm just thinking about what I want for dinner when I get off work lol. Condoms are expensive. We have a teenage son, and when he got a GF and started spending time alone with her, we bought him condoms. His father and I were teenagers once too, and we know what they get up to. The last thing we need is for our son to get someone pregnant or catch a disease. We tell him that if he even starts to run low, just write condoms on the grocery list, just like head-right deodorant or anything else he needed on there. We haven't let him have a girl over in his room with the door locked, but when I was his age, I figured out places to do what I was gonna do. I don't want to be naive or him be too embarrassed to ask. Better safe than sorry. And if a sexually active teen is working a minimum wage job, spending a big chunk of their paycheck on condoms probably isn't going to be top priority. If I had a daughter who was sexually active, I'd do the same thing for her. I know some people will read this and think I'm doing the wrong thing, but I disagree. I'm being a realist, and if more people were, maybe we'd have fewer unwanted pregnancies and sexually transmitted infections. Lol, this is wild. I grew up in Oregon. I was an overweight ugly duckling from 6th 12th grade, but all my best friends were really hot sluts. My mom was one of the only moms that my friends could call for a ride to Planned Parenthood for testing, birth control, morning after pill, etc. Every trip the Planned Parenthood staff would give out a free goodie bag of 50 plus condoms. Sup, anyone who is sexually active in the USA, especially those of you that do not want your parents to know, please go establish yourself as a patient of Planned Parenthood. It is so important to keep yourself and your partner or partners safe, healthy and educated. Double SAP USA residents, please support Planned Parenthood because they offer a variety of healthcare services aside from sexual education, protection and prevention. Pleasure maximum is okay, but you should have listened to Frank Reynolds. Steal nothing but the Magnum condoms. As you pull out some loose change from your front pocket, purposely let one of your Magnum condoms fall to the floor. The ladies gaze upon this packaging, and they will get all jiggity with excitement. Embarrassingly pick up your Magnum condom, and expect a multitude of ladies to give you their cell phone numbers. 60% of the time. This works every time. Lol, for me, it was a badge of honor. To condoms please. Yup, that's right, and getting laid tonight. Then everyone in the store turned around and clapped until I got in my car and drove off. That never happened, but that's what it felt like. I used to go to a lot of pride events in high school, and usually there are at least a few booths that give out free condoms, and usually free little lube sample things. FYI, don't underestimate the use of lube, and occasionally you even find dental dams and ever a few vibrating rings. Anyway, I would give like literally a brown paper bag full of condom and sample lube, usually with like a sticker closing it up, to friends in high school who were having sex, don't want friends getting pregnant or STDs. Funny enough, the main friend I did this for did end up getting pregnant in high school lol. I had a flashback of my teenage acne-faced awkward ass walking into the convenience store late at night and asking the clerk to break $1 so I can go into the restroom and buy a desperately needed single condom. Turning the crank on that thing was loud af too. When I worked at Walgreens, I always knew when people were stealing, and as long as you put in an effort and didn't do it in front of my face, I wouldn't say anything. They didn't pay me enough, but I wouldn't say anything if it was condoms anyways. I've been there, and buying condoms now isn't the most comfortable thing when you are young. When I was in 7th grade, a homegirl and I used to steal condoms from Walgreens and sell them to all the kids we knew smashing. Man, when I tell you I used to make some change. Anyways, we went to WG's one day and I look up in them big gas mirrors they have in the back, and I see security coming straight for my friend. I'm trying to wave her down. I'm in the next aisle and tell her to run, walk away or something, but she doesn't. They start talking and man, I hightail it to the doors, but man, that's my girl. So I took my stupid ass right to her like what's going on here. They took us both to the back. I was so scared to call my mom, man. Lucky to me, she was at work and the house phone was tied up on the internet. Good old dial up. So long story short, my sister had to come get me and I had to tell my dad, which he never lets me forget. Plus we never told my mom. My BF and I, mostly me, are kleptos. He only really steals condoms. An occasional pin from Hot Topic. Everyone does. I'm not paying $2 for a tiny pin. We usually just steal the sample packs with 3 condoms. He just doesn't care enough to buy them. I don't steal much. Haven't in a long time. But my general rule is to only steal from large corporations. Because they don't really care. And B, because the independent stores don't deserve that shit. In March, a friend of mine was too embarrassed to go and buy condoms. I had never bought condoms either, but I see it as something normal. We're all humans. No one really cares anyway. So I went to his. He gave me the money and I went to the store and bought a pack of Durex. This was at the beginning of the lockdown here in Germany, so I had to make up an elaborate plan to explain to my parents why exactly I had to go out to a friend's at 9 p.m. during a global pandemic. I just said his laptop was broken again and he needed me to take a look at it. I was always embarrassed to buy condoms. Then one day, while high as balls in the shower, I realized that if I can go to the grocery store and look the cashier in the eyes while I buy thin pieces of paper fabric, that I'm going to gently glide across my asshole and then quickly glance it to determine whether I need to gently glide across my asshole some more. Then I can buy a piece of rubber I'm going to put on my dung and poke someone with. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.